The Employment Standards Act provides minimum standards for working conditions for most employees in Ontario. Things like minimum wage, vacation pay, public holidays, overtime, termination, and severance pay. In most cases, if an employee believes that their employer is not complying with the Employment Standards Act, they can file a complaint with the Ministry of Labour. An employee cannot file a claim with the Ministry of Labour if they've also began a court action on the same matter. Before an employee files a complaint, they should get the Before You Start package, which can be found on the Ministry of Labour website or at a Service Ontario centre, and it contains information on how to file a complaint. In general, employees should be notifying their employer before they file a complaint. An employee can go in person to speak to the employer, but they may also send a letter, send an email or a fax, or make a phone call to contact the employer. There can be certain circumstances where it may not be appropriate for the employee to be contacting the employer, such as if the employee is afraid of the employer, language barriers, if the wages owed were due more than 5 months ago, young workers, if the employer has closed down or is insolvent, and several other factors that are listed on the claim form itself. The Before You Start package also contains form letters on how to contact the employer. There is also a request for payment form that can also be attached to the letter, which contains details about the amount of money that you believe the employer owes. Also in the package is an employer notice form from the Ministry of Labour, which underlines the importance of your request and details what could happen if the employer ignores your request. So if you decide to file a claim, you can obtain a claim form from the Ministry of Labour website or by mail from Service Ontario publications or in person at a Service Ontario centre. The employee must fill out the mandatory fields on the claim form, and they must be truthful and accurate in the information that they provide. Missing or inaccurate information can delay the investigation in the complaint. Depending on the nature of your claim, some documents will be very useful in helping you fill out the claim form. These documents could include copies of your pay stubs or paychecks, copies of your income tax information, mainly from a T4 slip, a copy of your written notice of termination if one was given, a copy of your record of employment if you received one, and a copy of any letters or notices or written agreements with the employer. These documents would be needed by the Employment Standards Officer in the investigation of an employee's complaint. The Ministry of Labour has many publications available in numerous languages, and an employee can also call the Employment Standards Information Centre to get further information on their rights, or visit the Ministry of Labour website. The Ministry of Labour website contains several online tools that can help an employee fill out the claim form. Once you've filled out the claim form, you can submit it online through the Ministry of Labour website, by fax, or by mail.
Well, an Employment Standards Officer will review the complaint to see if all the information is there. They will contact the parties, the employer and or the employee, either by telephone, by letter. Sometimes we conduct an in-person meeting in order to get all the information or evidence that we need.
Hi, I'm the Employment Standards Officer assigned to investigate this case.
And then the officer makes a decision on whether there's any violation of the Employment Standards Act.
If you don't agree with the decision, either of you both will have a right of review if I issue an order against the employer or if I deny your claim.
In all cases where a decision is made and the employer and the employee have been advised in writing of the decision, either party can appeal to the Ontario Labour Relations Board to have the decision reviewed by the board in case they're in disagreement with the decision.
For more information, please visit the Ministry of Labour website or call the Employment Standards Information Centre.